The distress signal arrived during what should have been a routine session of the Galactic Council. Ren watched the holographic display flicker and die 3 times before it stabilized enough to show anything coherent. When the image finally held, he wished it hadn't. Talvari cities burned in the background. His people ran through streets while mechanical swarms tore through buildings like they were made of paper. The message was simple and desperate. Help us, please, anyone. Elder Prath silenced the recording. The council chamber fell quiet except for the hum of air recyclers. 15 species represented here, and not one of them had a military worth the name. They traded, they talked, they built, they did not fight. "We should send aid," Ren said. Several council members looked at him like he had suggested breathing vacuum. "Aid," Prath's secondary arms gestured dismissal. "Young one, we have merchant ships, cargo haulers. What you see there requires warships, soldiers, things we abolished generations ago." "Then we do nothing, let them die." "We do what we can, evacuation ships, medical supplies, refugee processing." Prath's voice carried the weight of someone who had made terrible choices before. "It is not enough. It never is, but it is what we have." Ren pulled up his data tablet and started searching through the council archives. There had to be something. Some old defense pact. Some forgotten ally. His fingers moved faster as the hologram continued showing his people dying. "Wait," his voice cut through the chamber discussions. "There's a reference here. Emergency Contact Protocols, Section 7012. "Section what?" Another council member laughed. "That archive is older than most of our civilizations. It mentions a species, Sol 3, marked as quarantine zone, forbidden contact." Ren read faster. "It says here in case of existential threat, activate emergency beacon at coordinates." He trailed off. "Quarantine zone," Prath leaned forward. "Why would we contact a quarantine species?" Ren found the attached files, started opening them. The first showed a ship, human ship according to the label. It was flying through a radiation belt that would have fried any council vessel in seconds. The crew was collecting salvage, wearing suits that barely qualified as protection, smiling. The second file showed rescue operations. Humans diving into the atmosphere of a gas giant to pull survivors from a crashed transport. The pressures at those depths should have crushed their ships into balls of metal. They came back up with everyone alive. The third file was military footage. Humans fighting something Ren didn't recognize. They were outnumbered 5-1. Their position was surrounded. They won anyway. When their weapons ran out, they used pieces of the environment. When those broke, they used their hands. "These are Deathworlders," Prath whispered. "I thought they were myths." "The file says they evolved on a Class 12 death world. Everything on their planet tries to kill them. Weather, animals, plants. Even their water can carry diseases. They had to fight just to exist." Ren looked up. "It says here they were quarantined because they kept trying to help other species. They would risk themselves for anyone who asked. The old council decided they were too dangerous to contact." "Too dangerous," a council member from the outer sectors spoke up, "or too useful?" "Both." Prath studied the files. "If we activate this beacon, we are asking predators for help. There is no guarantee they will respond, or that they will stop once they start. They're dying down there." Ren pointed at the hologram still showing Talvari worlds under attack. "My sister, my parents, everyone I know, if there's even a chance." The council debated for what felt like hours. It was probably minutes. Every second wasted was another life lost. Finally, Prath raised his primary arm. "Activate the beacon. May whatever gods still listen forgive us if this goes wrong." Ren rushed to the ancient terminal. The coordinates were still valid. The beacon system powered up with a sound like grinding metal. It had not been used in over 3,000 years. The message was automatic, pre-programmed, distress, coordinates, SOS. He pressed the activation button and watched the signal pulse out into space, faster than light, heading toward a small yellow star on the edge of explored space. "How long until we know if they received it?" someone asked. "The file says they maintained monitoring stations. If those still exist, they should pick it up within hours." Ren sat down heavily. "Then we wait and see if they come." "And if they don't?" Ren looked at the hologram, watched his homeworld die in real time. "Then we tried. That's more than doing nothing." The council dispersed. Most went to organize evacuation efforts. Some prepared refugee centers. A few just went home, unable to watch anymore. Ren stayed in the chamber, watching the hologram, watching the beacon display, waiting. 3 hours passed, then 5. At hour 7, he started to give up hope. Maybe the humans were gone. Maybe they had destroyed themselves like so many violent species eventually did. Maybe they simply didn't care about aliens crying for help. At hour 9, every sensor in the council station screamed warnings at once. Multiple contacts, entering system at faster than light speeds, big contacts, military grade, weapons hot. Ren pulled up the display, counted the signatures, stopped counting at 30, more kept appearing. Ships built like weapons, ships that looked like they were designed to fly through hell itself. The communication channel opened. A human voice spoke, female, calm, like she did this every day. "This is Deathworlder Fleet Command. We received your distress call. Hold position. Help has arrived." Ren started laughing, or crying, maybe both. Through the viewport he could see them now. Human warships dropping out of FTL in formation. Dozens of them, more arriving every second. They came. The Deathworlders actually came. Now he just had to hope that hadn't been a mistake. Admiral Hayes stepped off the transport and immediately started making adjustments to her environmental suit. The gravity here was lighter than Earth standard. The air was thinner. Temperature about 15 degrees too warm for comfort. She made a mental note and moved on. Complaining about conditions was a waste of time. The Galactic Council representatives waited in what they probably thought was a safe distance. Hayes could see their body language even through the translation difficulties. Fear, uncertainty, desperation. She had seen it before on disaster sites back home. "I'm Admiral Sandra Hayes, commanding officer of the 3rd Relief Fleet." She kept her voice level. No need to add more stress to an already bad situation. "Who's my point of contact?" A young alien stepped forward. Bipedal, 4 arms, skin that shifted colors with what Hayes guessed were emotional states, currently showing patterns she interpreted as nervous determination. "I'm Ren. I activated the beacon. Thank you for coming." "Don't thank me yet. Show me what we're dealing with." Hayes pulled up her tactical display. "I need current enemy positions, civilian population centers, resource availability, and anything else relevant. My people are already scanning, but local knowledge helps." An older alien moved closer. This one moved carefully, like someone used to political games. "Forgive me, Admiral, but we expected. I'm not sure what we expected. Perhaps more questions, discussion of terms." "Terms?" Hayes looked at him directly. "You sent a distress call. We came. There'll be time for politics after people stop dying. Right now I need information so we can do our jobs, unless you want us to leave." "No," Ren almost shouted it. "No, please, I'll show you everything." The briefing room was designed for species much smaller than humans. Hayes crouched to fit through the doorway and made it work. Lieutenant Ortiz followed her in, already pulling up holographic displays from their shared tactical network. The situation was worse than the initial reports suggested. The mechanical swarm had hit 7 worlds simultaneously. Their technology absorbed everything they touched and used it to build more of themselves. Self-replicating, self-improving, exponential growth that would consume the entire sector if left unchecked. "How long have they been active?" Ortiz asked. 43 days. Ren's colors shifted to something Hayes thought might be grief. We tried to fight at first, our defensive platforms, orbital stations. They took everything we had and used it against us. 43 days. Hayes did the math in her head, estimated current swarm size, projected growth patterns, compared it to Earth scenarios. Ortiz, pull up the Australia Protocol. The bushfire response model. We're in space, Admiral. Same principle, fast-moving threat, exponential spread. Can't fight everywhere at once. Hayes pointed at the holographic map. We need to establish fire breaks, cut off their expansion, contain them in sectors we can manage. Then we hit them hard and fast before they adapt to our tactics. Ren watched them work. Watched two humans solve in minutes what the entire council had struggled with for weeks. You've fought something like this before. Not exactly like this, but similar enough. Hayes zoomed in on a heavily populated world. Earth throws problems at us constantly. Wildfires, earthquakes, hurricanes, pandemics. You learn to adapt or you die. We got pretty good at adapting. But those are natural disasters. This is an intelligent enemy. Ortiz laughed. It wasn't a mean sound, just honest. Admiral, remember the Brazilian incident, when the AI tried to optimize the power grid. Different situation, Lieutenant. Same solution, though. Identify the core, cut the connections, overwhelm the decision-making process. Ortiz turned to Ren. Everything can be broken. You just need to find the right pressure points. An alert interrupted them. One of the council worlds was under active attack. The swarm had shifted tactics, going after a medical station. Thousands of refugees sheltering there. Hayes was moving before the alert finished. All ships combat alert. Target coordinates uploading now. We've got civilians in the line of fire. The response was immediate. Human warships broke orbit and burned hard for the threatened world. Hayes felt the familiar pressure of high-G acceleration, watched her crew work with practiced efficiency. They had drilled for this, trained for this, lived for this. The fleet dropped out of FTL right on top of the swarm. Hayes saw her tactical board light up with targets, hundreds of them, thousands, more than the initial scan had suggested. Weapons free, all batteries, drive them away from the medical station. Human ships opened fire, kinetic rounds traveling at relativistic speeds, missiles with warheads designed to crack asteroids, energy weapons that could cut through ship armor like paper. The swarm returned fire, plasma bursts, particle beams, conventional explosives. The human shields took the hits, sparked, held, recharged. Hayes watched her damage reports, ship integrity at 85%. 79%, 81% as the auto-repair systems kicked in. They're not breaking off, Ortiz reported. Swarm is committing everything to this position. Good means they're not thinking straight. Focus fire on their heavy units. Marines prep for boarding action. We're going in close. The council observers watching from the flagship couldn't believe what they were seeing. Human ships advancing into weapons range, taking damage deliberately, creating openings. Ren watched a human destroyer take a direct hit that should have destroyed it. The ship spun, corrected, kept fighting. Why aren't they retreating? Because retreating means the swarm reaches the medical station. An older human stood next to him, civilian clothes but military bearing. I'm Dr. Warren, xenobiologist. Mind if I watch with you? They're going to get killed. Maybe, probably not though. Those ships are built tough, Earth tough. We over-engineer everything because our planet taught us that the minimum is never enough. Warren pointed at the display. See that cruiser? It's got 3 separate power systems, 4 redundant shield generators, armor that can self-seal breaches, and a crew that won't quit even if everything fails. The battle raged for 30 minutes, felt like hours. Finally, the swarm broke, started retreating. Human ships pursued long enough to make sure they were gone, then immediately shifted to rescue operations. Medical station, this is Fleet Command. Threat neutralized. Stand by for evacuation support. Ren's colors shifted. Relief, gratitude, confusion. You barely know us. Why risk so much? Hayes looked at him. You asked for help, that's enough. 3 weeks into the campaign, and Dr. Warren still couldn't figure out how the Talvari had survived this long. Their bodies were fragile. Their tolerance for temperature variation was maybe 10 degrees in either direction. Their hearing was so sensitive that a human speaking at normal volume caused them actual pain. Yet here they were, still fighting to exist despite everything trying to kill them. She found Ren in what passed for the station's cafeteria. He was picking at food that probably tasted like cardboard to him. Stress did that. Warren had seen it in disaster zones back home. Mind if I join you? Ren's colors shifted to something Warren had learned meant surprise. Dr. Warren, of course, please. She sat down with her own meal, standard Earth rations, high-calorie, boring as hell. How are you holding up? I should be asking you that. Your people are the ones fighting. My people are good at fighting, it's what we do. Warren took a bite, chewed thoughtfully. I've been studying your species. You know what's interesting? Your pain threshold is incredibly low compared to humans. What we'd call a minor injury would be agony for you. Yet you're still here, still working, still trying. We don't have a choice. There's always a choice. You could have run, scattered across the galaxy, started over somewhere else. Warren leaned back. But you didn't. You called for help instead. That takes a different kind of courage. An alarm interrupted them. Another swarm attack. Fourth one this week. Ren jumped up, food forgotten. Warren followed at a more relaxed pace. She had learned that panicking just wasted energy. The tactical center was chaos. Controlled chaos, but still chaos. Hayes stood at the command station, directing 3 different battle groups simultaneously. Her command style was direct. Simple orders. Trust her people to execute. Second Fleet, they're trying to flank you. Swing wide and cut them off. Fourth Fleet, I need you protecting those evacuation ships. Yes, I know they're shooting at you. That's why I need you there. Ortiz was coordinating with Talvari defense forces. The aliens had learned fast, adapted human tactics to their own capabilities. They couldn't take hits like human ships could, but they were faster, more maneuverable, good for hit and run attacks. Talvari Squadron 5, we've got bogies on your 6. Break left. Human fighter wing will cover you. Ren watched the coordination. Humans and Talvari working together like they had trained for years instead of weeks. How do you do this? Stay calm while everything falls apart. Warren pulled up a chair, settled in. Practice mostly. Earth is really good at throwing disasters at us. We learn to deal with it or die. Take Admiral Hayes. She was in San Francisco during the big earthquake. Spent 3 days pulling people out of rubble. She was 12. 12, that's a child by our standards. By ours too, didn't matter. Work needed doing. Warren watched the tactical display. Or take Ortiz. He was in the Navy when the Atlantic conveyor collapsed. Ocean currents went crazy. Storms like you wouldn't believe. He spent 2 years on rescue operations. Lost count of how many people he pulled out of the water. And they volunteer for this. We all do. It's what humans do. We see someone in trouble and we help. Can't not do it. It's built into us. The battle resolved itself the way most of them did. Humans took damage. Talvari vessels stayed mobile. Swarm got overwhelmed and retreated. Hayes started issuing orders for repairs and resupply before the shooting even stopped. Later in the medical bay, Warren found what she had been dreading. Human casualties. Not many, but enough. Burns, impact trauma, radiation exposure. The kind of injuries that happen when you put yourself between danger and someone else. She found Hayes there too, visiting the wounded, talking quietly with each one, promising them their sacrifice mattered, meaning every word. You should rest, Admiral. So should you, Doctor, yet here we are. Hayes moved to the next bed. How's our supply situation? Medical supplies are good. Your people overpacked as usual. Food is interesting. Turns out human rations are too dense for Talvari. We're working on adjustments. Warren paused. We lost 2 crew members in yesterday's action. Hayes stopped walking, just for a moment, then nodded. I know, Morrison and Chang. Morrison was 23, just out of academy. Chang was a veteran, 15 years service. 3 kids back home. You know all of them. I should, they're under my command, my responsibility. Hayes started walking again. We'll hold a memorial once this is over, proper one, with their families attending remotely. Until then, we keep working. It's what they would want. Wren appeared in the doorway. His colors were muted, subdued. Admiral Hayes, Elder Prath wants to speak with you. He's suggesting a strategic withdrawal. Preserve forces for a counterattack later. Later when, after your worlds are consumed. Hayes shook her head. Not happening. We don't retreat when people need help. But your casualties, your ships are damaged. You've been fighting nonstop for weeks. Hayes looked at him, really looked at him. Wren, let me tell you something about humans. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. Predators, diseases, weather, starvation. We survived because we refused to give up. It's in our DNA. You called for help, we came. We stay until the job is done. Even if it costs everything. Even then, Hayes softened her tone. But it won't. We're tougher than we look, and we're not alone anymore. Your people are learning, fighting alongside us. That makes us stronger. Warren watched Wren process this, saw his colors shift to something new, something that might have been hope mixed with determination. Then we keep fighting. Hayes smiled. Now you're thinking like a Deathworlder. Ortiz found the Talvari children hiding in storage compartment 12. 6 of them. Ages ranging from what he guessed was 5 to maybe 10 in human years. They had been there for hours based on the food wrappers and water containers. Hey there, I'm Lieutenant Ortiz. Mind if I come in? The oldest one positioned herself in front of the others, protective, brave despite the fear colors rippling across her skin. Are you going to make us go to the refugee center? That depends. Why are you hiding? Ortiz sat down on the floor, made himself less threatening. Kid psychology worked across species apparently. Because everyone there is scared. They cry all the time, talk about how we're all going to die, how the swarm will get us eventually. The girl's voice was steady, but her colors betrayed her. We wanted to be somewhere that felt safe. And storage compartment 12 feels safe. It's on a human ship. Nothing bad happens on human ships. The girl said it with such certainty that Ortiz felt something tighten in his chest. He pulled out his data pad, called up some images. Want to see where I'm from, back on Earth. The children crept closer, curiosity overcoming fear. Ortiz showed them pictures of home. Miami, ocean, beaches, buildings that reached into the sky, his family, his dog, normal things. What's that? A smaller child pointed at a picture of a hurricane. That's a storm. Big rotating wind system. Can flatten entire cities if you're not careful. And you live there, where those happen. Sure, we just build things strong enough to handle it, or we evacuate, get out of the way, then come back and rebuild. Ortiz swiped to another image. This is after Hurricane Maria. See how everything is broken. 3 months later it looked like this. He showed the rebuilt city. Humans are good at fixing things. The oldest girl studied the images. You're not scared of anything, are you? We get scared, we just don't let it stop us. Ortiz closed the data pad. Tell you what, how about you come to the observation deck? We're about to run a training exercise. Might be interesting to watch. The training exercise was actually combat. Real combat. But the kids didn't need to know that yet. Ortiz got them settled in the observation area with Dr. Warren keeping an eye on them while he headed to the bridge. Hayes was already coordinating the attack. Intelligence had located a swarm production facility, one of the big ones. Taking it out would slow their expansion significantly. The plan was aggressive, risky, typically human. All ships mark your targets. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we get out. No heroics today, people. Well, no more than usual. The fleet dropped out of FTL right on top of the facility. The swarm response was immediate. Hundreds of defense drones launched. Point defense systems lit up space. Heavy weapons platforms tracked and fired. Human ships waded through it all like they were walking through rain. Shields sparked. Armor took hits. Ships kept moving forward. Ortiz watched his tactical display turn red with warnings. Watched damage percentages climb. Watched the ships keep fighting anyway. Forward batteries, concentrate fire on the primary structure. Marines, prep for insertion. We need to plant charges on the internal supports. The assault boats launched. Small craft carrying teams of humans in heavy armor. They flew through weapons fire that would have vaporized most ships. Lost 2 boats. The rest made it through and attached to the facility's hull. Ortiz switched to the Marine frequency. Listened to them work. Calm voices calling out positions, confirming targets, setting charges, professional, efficient, like they were installing plumbing instead of explosives. Charges set, all teams extract, 30 seconds. The assault boats pulled away, most of them. One had taken damage. Thrusters weren't responding correctly. It was drifting toward the facility instead of away. Hayes saw it too. Boat 7 report status. Thrusters are shot, Admiral. We're trying to EVA, but there's not enough time. Understood. Hayes checked her displays, ran calculations. Fleet maintain position. Cruiser Dallas, you're closest. Can you get a tractor beam on Boat 7? Negative, Admiral. We'd have to drop shields to get the power. Swarm would tear us apart. Ortiz watched the timer count down. 20 seconds. Boat 7 was still too close. The explosion would catch them. He started running scenarios, came up with nothing good. Then Hayes spoke. Her voice was different, softer, sad. Boat 7, this is Admiral Hayes. It has been an honor serving with you. Likewise, Admiral. Tell our families we did our jobs. Ortiz closed his eyes. Behind him, one of the Talvari children made a sound. He turned. They were watching, had heard everything. The oldest girl had tears in her eyes, but her colors showed something else. Understanding, acceptance, respect. The charges detonated. The facility came apart in a cascade of secondary explosions, beautiful and terrible. When the light faded, Boat 7 was gone. The fleet held position for 60 seconds, silent. Then Hayes spoke again. They bought us this victory. Let's not waste it. All ships return to base. We'll hold memorial services at 1800 hours. Back in the observation area, the children were quiet. Finally, the oldest girl spoke. They knew they were going to die. Yes, Ortiz said. And they still did their job. Yes. Because if they didn't, more people would die later. That's right. Ortiz knelt down to her level. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do what needs doing anyway. The girl thought about this. Her colors shifted, solidified into something steady, determined. I want to help, all of us do. We're tired of hiding, tired of being afraid. Teach us how to be brave like humans. Ortiz looked at Dr. Warren. She nodded slowly. Okay, but first rule of being brave, you take care of yourself so you can help others. That means food, rest, staying healthy. Deal. Deal. As the children followed Warren to get proper meals, Ortiz returned to the bridge. Hayes was writing letters, personal ones, to the families of Boat 7. They want to help Admiral, the Talvari kids. Hayes didn't look up. Then we teach them, carefully, age-appropriately, but we teach them, because hiding from fear doesn't make it go away, facing it does. The intelligence breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A Talvari engineer named Kella who had been analyzing swarm communication patterns. She brought her findings to Dr. Warren at 3 in the morning, which meant it was important. They're not independent. Kella's colors pulsed with excitement. Each swarm unit connects to a central processing node, a hive mind. If we could locate and destroy it, the entire network would collapse. Warren pulled up the data, studied it, ran it through analysis programs. This is solid work. Where's the node? That's the problem. It's mobile, moves between systems, but I've been tracking the communication delays, building a predictive model. Kella pulled up a star map. It will be here in 72 hours, in the outer reach system, empty space, no colonies, no resources, just nothing. Which makes it perfect for an ambush. Warren contacted Hayes immediately. The Admiral arrived 15 minutes later, already in uniform despite the hour. She studied the data while drinking coffee that could probably strip paint. How confident are you in this prediction? 87%. Kella's colors showed nervousness. The pattern is consistent, but if I'm wrong, then we waste time and resources. If you're right, we end this war. Hayes pulled up fleet positions, started running calculations. This would require a deep strike into territory the swarm controls completely, long way from support, long way from escape routes. It's suicide, Ortiz said. He had arrived shortly after Hayes. We'd be alone out there, no backup, no reinforcements. If anything goes wrong, we're dead. So we don't let anything go wrong. Hayes looked at her officers. I'm not ordering anyone on this mission. It's volunteer only, too risky, too uncertain. Anyone who wants out, speak now. Silence, then Ortiz laughed. Admiral, with respect, where else would we be? This is what we came here to do. Hayes smiled. Okay then, we go, but we do it smart. Mixed human Talvari crews. We need your people's navigation skills and our firepower. Ren, think you can convince your pilots to fly into hell with us? Ren had been standing quietly in the corner. Now he stepped forward. Admiral, after everything your people have done for us, I think I can manage that. The strike force assembled over the next 48 hours. 15 ships, half human, half Talvari, crews that had been fighting together for months now, that had learned each other's strengths, that trusted each other with their lives. Warren insisted on going. Hayes argued. Warren pulled rank as senior civilian scientist. Hayes gave in but assigned her a security detail. They compromised. The journey took them through space that still bore scars of the swarm's passage. Dead worlds, shattered stations, debris fields that had once been civilizations. The crew saw it all through their viewports, remembered why they were doing this. Ren commanded the Talvari contingent from his ship, smaller than the human vessels but faster, more agile. He kept his crew focused on the mission, kept them from thinking too hard about the odds. They reached the outer reach system exactly on schedule, set up defensive positions, powered down to minimal signatures, and waited. The hive node arrived 6 hours later. It was massive, bigger than any ship Ren had ever seen, bigger than some moons. It moved through space trailing thousands of swarm units like a queen bee with her colony. That's our target, someone whispered on the open channel. That's our target. Hayes kept her voice steady. Remember the plan. We hit the escorts first, draw them away, then strike teams board and plant charges on the node itself. Simple. Simple, Ortiz muttered. Sure. The attack began precisely. Human ships broke concealment and opened fire on the escort swarm, drew them in. The swarm responded exactly as predicted, committing everything to defend the node, which left it exposed. Talvari ships slipped through the chaos. Their smaller size and better maneuverability let them avoid the worst of the fighting. They attached to the node's hull like parasites, began cutting through. Ren led his team inside. The interior was nightmare geometry, passages that curved wrong, gravity that shifted randomly, surfaces that moved and adapted. Behind him, human marines followed. They looked uncomfortable but functional. Humans could adapt to anything if they tried hard enough. Central chamber should be this way. Kella was with them, providing navigation. Her scans showed a massive power source ahead. That's where we place the charges. They fought through automated defenses. Ren discovered that Talvari speed worked well in close quarters. Dodge, shoot, move, don't stay still. The humans provided covering fire, their heavier weapons punching through obstacles. The central chamber was exactly as horrifying as expected. The hive mind itself, a massive organic-mechanical hybrid that pulsed with energy, tendrils connected to systems throughout the node. It was aware of them. Ren could feel its attention like weight on his shoulders. Plant the charges, fast. Hayes was coordinating from orbit. We've got heavy resistance forming up. You need to move. The team spread out, placed explosives on critical systems. Ren worked alongside Ortiz, both of them moving as fast as they could. The hive mind was trying to stop them, sending drones, sealing passages, adapting. Last charge placed, everyone out now, Hayes ordered. They ran. The hive mind threw everything at them. Walls closed, floors opened, weapons fired from every angle. Ren lost people, heard their final transmissions, kept moving because stopping meant everyone died. They made it to the extraction point, most of them. Not all, never all. The ships pulled away as the charges detonated. The hive node came apart from the inside, chain reactions spreading through its massive structure. Throughout space, swarm units stopped, drifted. Without the hive mind, they were just machines. No coordination, no intelligence, no threat. Target destroyed. Mission accomplished. All ships returned to base. Hayes paused. Well done, everyone. Today we won. Ren sat in his command chair and let the exhaustion hit him. They had won. Actually won. The war was over. His colors shifted to something humans had taught him to feel. Pride. 6 months after the hive node fell, Ren stood in what had been a battlefield and was now a construction site. Talvari and human workers moved together, rebuilding an orbital defense station. The design was new, hybrid, combined Talvari efficiency with human redundancy. Looking good, Hayes said, walking up beside him. She wore civilian clothes now. Technically, she would always move like a soldier. Your engineers are terrifying. They treat physics like a suggestion. Ren gestured at a support beam that should have collapsed under its own weight but somehow didn't. I asked how it works. Got a 40-minute lecture on stress distribution that I barely understood. Welcome to working with humans. We make things complicated because simple fails too easily. Hayes checked her data pad. Council wants to meet with us. Something about a new defensive pact. I heard they want to formalize cooperation, establish joint training programs, share technology. Ren's colors shifted to amusement. 6 months ago they were terrified of you. Now they want to be like you. We're not that special. You proved that. Your people fought alongside us, held the line when it mattered. That takes the same courage. They walked through the station, past mixed crews working together. Saw Talvari children playing with human kids, teaching each other games from their respective worlds. Heard laughter in multiple languages. Dr. Warren found them in the observation lounge. She looked healthier than she had during the war, less tired, more hopeful. There you are. Ren, I wanted to show you something. She pulled up medical scans. We've been studying Talvari physiology. Specifically, how you've adapted over the past 6 months. Your stress tolerance has increased. Pain threshold is higher. Your species is literally evolving to be tougher. Environmental pressure forcing adaptation. Like humans did on Earth. Exactly like that. Not as extreme, obviously. Your world wasn't trying to kill you every day. But the principle is the same. Face challenges, adapt or die. Your people are choosing to adapt. Warren smiled. Give it a few generations and Talvari might qualify as Deathworlders yourselves. Ren considered this, thought about the children learning human survival skills, about the pilots who now flew into danger without hesitating, about his own transformation from scared diplomat to combat veteran. Maybe, but I hope we never lose what makes us Talvari, the art, the philosophy, the belief that talking is better than fighting. You won't, that's your strength, just like stubbornness is ours. Hayes looked out the viewport. Humans and Talvari together, we cover each other's weaknesses. An alert interrupted them. Not a combat alert, just a priority message. Hayes read it and her expression changed, became serious. What is it? Ren asked. Distress call, different sector, species we've never heard of, something called the Benari. They're under attack, requesting assistance. Hayes looked at Ren. Council is debating response protocols, political considerations, all the usual delays. And you want to go anyway. I'm a civilian now, technically, but yes, I want to go. They need help, that's enough reason. Hayes paused. But I'm not making this decision alone anymore. This affects Talvari space too. Your people have ships, trained crews, what do you think? Ren thought about it, about everything they had been through, about the cost of fighting, about the cost of not fighting, about those children in the storage compartment who had wanted to feel safe. I think we should help them. His colors showed certainty. Not because we have to, because we can, because it's the right thing to do. You sure this could be dangerous, could cost lives? Admiral, you taught us something important. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing what needs doing anyway. Ren smiled. Besides, we're Deathworlders now, remember. Hayes laughed. Not quite, but you're getting there. They assembled a response fleet, smaller than the force that had saved Talvari space, more balanced. Human ships for heavy combat, Talvari vessels for speed and precision, mixed crews who knew how to work together. Ortiz commanded one of the cruisers. He had married a Talvari engineer named Sella. Their wedding had been the first formal human-Talvari union. The first of many, probably. He waved at Hayes as his ship prepared to depart. Ready when you are, Admiral. I'm not an admiral anymore, Lieutenant. You'll always be Admiral to us, Ortiz grinned. Just like Ren will always be the guy who was brave enough to call for help. The fleet prepared to jump. Ren stood on the bridge of his ship looking at the combined human-Talvari force. They weren't the same people who had met 6 months ago. They were stronger, more confident, better. All ships, this is Ren. Today we answer a distress call, not because we're ordered to, because someone needs help and we can provide it, because we learned from the best that you don't abandon people in trouble. Let's show the galaxy what happens when Deathworlders and Talvari work together. Hayes transmitted from her ship. Combined fleet, you are cleared for departure. Show them what we've learned. Show them that courage is contagious. That hope can spread just as fast as fear. Make us proud. The fleet jumped, disappeared into faster than light travel, heading toward another crisis, another species in trouble, another chance to help. Back on the station, Dr. Warren watched them go, made notes for her research. Humanity had come to Talvari space as rescuers. They were leaving as partners, as friends, as proof that different species could work together, could make each other stronger. The distress call had brought humans and Talvari together. Now together they would answer other calls, other pleas for help. And maybe, eventually, there would be enough Deathworlders in the galaxy that no one had to face extinction alone. The war was over. The real work was just beginning, and neither species was facing it alone anymore. That made all the difference.